This is the Spyderco Native 4. I bought this knife used last summer, and I bought it because I really liked the Sage. In my opinion, the Sage is still one of the best Edc folders that I own. It is small, lightweight, very much fun to play with, and with that 3-inch blade, there is pretty much no EDC tasks that you cannot do. Sometimes you might think you need a bigger blade, but personally, that did not happen to me. I was very happy with the Sage. I still have it and I still play with it. And I've heard a lot of things about the Native, and I must say, I liked the grind. I liked the design of it. I had a few concerns. First one was the fact that it was a pin construction. I prefer to have screws there that I can tighten in case I get a bit of blade play. I don't really need to take a knife apart so I can clean it. With this one, I have just held it under water and everything was fine. Second concern was the fact that it doesn't have liners. And sometimes knives that don't have liners tend to feel a bit unstable in the hand. They have some give to them. And a third one was the fact that it's a lockback design. Most lockback design will have this happen to them. Whenever you push on the blade to cut something, the blade will push back on the lock, and you can feel that in your hand. I have kind of gotten used to this because of the Spyderco Endura. And this became not an issue for me. The fact that it's a pin construction, I've also learned to live with this because I have no blade play. If I don't have side-to-side blade play, I'm happy. And the no liners thing, once again, not an issue because it doesn't have that much give to it. I did use this choil very much. I used it for the Sage, but I used it much more for this knife. Although it's very similar also in the handle with the Sage, I find myself using this grip much more than I did with the Sage. Because this grip, for me, is not at all comfortable. With the Sage, it works. With this one, not really. But I do choke up on the blade and tend to use it like this whenever I need to remove material. Now, if I were to do this the whole day, it wouldn't be very comfortable because my hand would be resting on metal and on this jimping. I'm not a big fan of jimping. For me, I think the most important feature about jimping is that it does not bother me. If it adds something to the design of the knife, I'm happy. This is the case right here. Now yes, this grind does look a bit aggressive, somewhat tactical, and some might say, well, you know, that looks like a stabbing knife, but it's only 3 inches long. So I don't think that's something you need to worry about. Back to the steel 440V. Or rather, let's talk about the steel 440V. I did not know what to think about 440V. Had no experience with it, didn't even know what it does. And I read up on it, I asked around, and as usual, I didn't get many informations about it reading up on it. So a lot of people told me it's S60V. I thought that S60V was between S30V and S90V. Not true. Much softer. And I noticed that when I modified the edge angle, because its previous owner didn't really take care of the edge. So I put a sharpening choil here, and I put a 20 per side edge angle. And I said, well, you know, this went really fast. Removing material from the blade went really fast. And that's when I started asking around and found out it's actually supposed to be a softer steel that won't take chips, rather bends. And I found that out, I think, after a week of testing it. I was cleaning some weeds from behind my car, and I hit a concrete wall. And I got the first third of the blade all chipped and bent. Now, it's not going to chip with regular tasks, but if you hit a concrete wall, of course, that's going to tear out some metal parts from your edge. But fixing it was very fast. I took a very cheap diamond stone, a few passes, then a few passes on my DC4, a few passes on the leather strop, and it was back to working condition. I like that. Now I have still to test the steel. I was planning to, but I never got around to it, so I just used it, and every once in a while I stropped it, and I had no problems with edge retention. But the best part is, except for the cases where I cut stuff that I shouldn't have been cutting with fine edge, I never got any chips or rolls in it. Last night I went to feed some stray dogs. I opened a can of dog food, tried to open it, and that little tab broke, so I got out my knife and I cut up a can. Those of you who know me know that I do abuse my knives, but I do not cut steel with them. I think that just doesn't really make sense. I have a couple of knives that I keep for certain occasions where I might need to cut aluminium or drywall, stuff like that. However, I don't do that with my fine edge knife. So now it has 3 chips. I'm not sure if you can see them, but taking them out won't really be a problem, I think. Very lightweight. Just like with the Sage, I don't think this is a woods knife. I carry it around with me in the woods, no problem, but this is not really my go-to knife. I sometimes play around with it. I will try to remove material, and I did use it for cooking as well. However, I think this is more of an EDC knife, a very good hiking knife, because it weighs so little, and the pocket clip really keeps this one in your pocket. No points for design. It's not the most appealing pocket clip, but in my opinion, all points for practicality. No problems with the pocket clip. Plus, you can change left to right very easily. You don't even need special tools. A coin will do the job. Have been carrying it for, well, the last 2 months again. About a month before that, before I tested the G720 and the Endura. Like it. The only thing that really remains to be done with it is to see how it holds an edge in a consistent test, and that would be probably cutting cardboard. Something else has too many variables. If you get clean cardboard, you can test it against a different steel with the same edge angle, and maybe you can come to a result. But for me, if it can do 10-15 minutes and still have a workable edge, I'm fine with it. I don't think I'm going to do that test unless enough people ask for it. I think the native model is a very good model. I have seen the newer ones with G10 handle scales and a full flat ground blade. I still would prefer this one in S30V, as I have noticed that Spyderco really does a good job heat treating their S30V. Really, no negative points from my point of view regarding the native. It could be improved. Forget the liners, but screw construction would be a very good idea. And a sharpening choil. I've noticed that very few knives have a sharpening choil, and lately I tend to put a sharpening choil whenever I want to work with the knife and have a nice clean edge. That's what I'll do. Some people criticize Ganzos. I have been carrying this one. This is the G732. It's bright orange because I don't know. and they come with a sharpening choil, which makes a lot of sense. This is very, very similar to the Spyderco Endura. That's why I got it. Didn't get around to do a lot of things with it, but I did clean up the edge, put a nice 20-degree per side edge angle on it, and started working with it. Very comfortable in hand. I keep it on my left hand side with the blade facing the inside of my pocket so it can't cut me when I put my hand in there. Rides very low. Can flick it out. Very good locking on it. Well, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the sharpening choil. Ganzo has taken a lot of models from Spyderco, and they improved them in my opinion. They don't match to the Spydercos. They cannot match the Spydercos. However, for the money you pay for them, sometimes they're worth it. I bought this one used. Very happy with it. I can only recommend it. The only thing I would do different is hold out for an S30V blade. Not because I don't like 440V. I just am very much used to Spyderco's S30V. I hope you liked the video, guys. If you have any questions about it, just ask me in the comment section. I'll get to them as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, and as always, I wish you all a great day.